Listen to me. There's power in silence. There's strength in handling your business in the quiet of your mind. And there's wisdom in keeping your struggles close to your chest. We live in a world where everyone wants to know what you're going through, but not everyone is invested in your success. Some people might pretend, but truth is, the more you share your problems, the more you're allowing others to control how you feel, how you think, and how you move forward. Let me tell you something about real strength that doesn't cry out for attention. It doesn't beg for sympathy. It doesn't seek validation from the outside world. It stands firm, handles its business, and moves on, regardless of the noise around it. The challenges you're facing are yours. They are part of your journey, and only you know how to navigate them. You think people care because they listen? Nah, people listen so they can talk. And once they know your struggles, they're quick to judge, quick to gossip, and quick to dismiss what you're going through. So keep your problems to yourself. Do you want to see who really cares about you? You want to see who truly supports you? Watch how they show up when you don't have to ask. Real support doesn't come with strings attached. It doesn't come with the expectation of sharing everything about your life. Real support comes from the people who've been through their own battles and understand the value of silence. Don't let your problems become the story someone else tells. Don't allow your hardships to become someone else's entertainment. Keep it moving. Keep fighting. Do not tell people about your problems. Handle it like the warrior you are. Because in the end, when you rise, it will be your silence, your resilience, and your strength that will tell the story. Your peace is sacred. Too many of us give it away without even realizing it. We share our problems with people who aren't really listening, who aren't really invested in helping, but instead are just waiting to hear something that will satisfy their curiosity or give them something to talk about. The more you open up, the more you invite others into your emotional space, and not everyone is equipped to handle that responsibility. They don't always have the best intentions, and worse, they don't always respect the value of your peace. The truth is, when you tell people about your struggles, you're giving them power over how you feel, over your mental state. You're allowing them to inject their opinions, their judgments, and sometimes their negativity into your life. When that happens, your peace starts slipping away, little by little. What happens when you protect your peace? You become invincible. It's not about bottling things up. It's about keeping control of your inner world. When you face challenges, handle them in a way that doesn't leave you vulnerable to the opinions and emotions of others. You stay grounded, you stay calm, and you allow yourself the space to process your own thoughts without outside interference. People want to know your problems because it makes them feel better about their own lives. But when you share, you're not just giving them information, you're giving them the ability to manipulate your peace. There's power in silence, in withholding your emotional energy from people who don't deserve it. You don't have to explain yourself, and you definitely don't need to explain your struggles. The less you reveal, the stronger you become. Keep your peace, because once it's gone, it's hard to get back. And when you guard it, you're showing the world that you're in control of your life. That no one else can dictate how you feel or how you react to the challenges you face. That kind of strength is unmatched. Protect your peace, it's your most valuable asset. Strength doesn't have to announce itself. It doesn't need to shout for attention or beg for sympathy. Real strength is quiet. It's the ability to stand tall when everything around you is crumbling. It's the kind of strength that stays steady, even when the world tries to pull you apart. When you face your battles without constantly sharing the details with the world, you're showing the kind of resilience that can't be broken by outside noise or distractions. The real warriors, the ones who keep pushing forward despite the odds, don't look for validation. They don't need to prove anything to anyone. They simply rise again and again, no matter how many times they've fallen. You see, people often confuse talking about problems with strength. They believe that sharing their burdens means they are strong because they can express their pain. But real strength comes from the ability to carry that weight silently. When you're quiet about your struggle, you allow yourself the time and space to work through it. You don't let the opinions or judgments of others seep in. You keep your head down, focus on the task at hand, and continue moving forward, regardless of how tough things get. Resilience in silence is a unique kind of strength. It's the ability to handle things without falling apart in front of the world. It's about holding your head high, even when you're struggling inside. It's about facing every challenge without begging for a crowd to cheer you on. You don't need to wear your pain on your sleeve for people to understand how strong you are. Strength doesn't come from seeking attention, it comes from knowing your worth, knowing that you are capable of handling whatever life throws at you. So when life knocks you down, don't cry out for others to hear your pain. Stand up in silence, gather your strength, and keep moving. That's where true power lies. People don't always care about your struggles, even when they act like they do. Let's be real, most of the time, people are only interested in your problems as long as it serves them in some way. They might listen, nod, and offer a few words of advice, but deep down, they're not invested in helping you. They're listening to satisfy their own curiosity or to have something to talk about with others. This isn't about malicious intent, it's just human nature. People care when it's convenient, when it makes them feel like they have something of value to offer, or when your situation somehow reflects their own struggles. But the moment your problems stop being interesting, or the moment they stop benefiting from the information you shared, they'll move on. And here's the thing, when you tell people about your problems, you're giving them a piece of yourself, a piece of your emotional energy, without knowing how they'll use it. Some people may take your struggles and use them as fodder for gossip. Some may just ignore them, pretending they care but never actually offering real support. And others will listen to judge, not to help. They'll start making assumptions, telling you what you should or shouldn't do, without truly understanding what you're going through. The reality is, nobody can understand your journey the way you can. Nobody will ever fully grasp the weight of your struggles or the depth of your resilience. So when you share your problems with people who aren't genuinely invested, you're not giving yourself a chance to receive the support you need. You're opening yourself up to more judgment, more opinions, and more noise. You might think they care, but in most cases, they're just waiting for the next person to talk so they can go back to their own lives. At the end of the day, you have to remember that your battle is yours alone to fight. No one can walk that path for you. When you learn to handle your struggles in silence, you take away their power. You stop letting other people's apathy or lack of understanding affect you. And you realize that true support doesn't come from just talking about your problems, it comes from people who are willing to show up for you when you least expect it, without needing you to explain every detail. So don't waste your energy on those who won't truly be there. Save it for the ones who will. Silence has a power that most people don't understand. It's not just about keeping quiet, it's about controlling the narrative, controlling the story. When you keep your struggles to yourself, you're taking charge of how your life unfolds. You're showing the world that you're not looking for sympathy, that you're not trying to be seen as a victim. You're choosing to move through the world with your head held high, focused on your purpose, and determined to rise above any challenge. That quiet strength speaks volumes. People will watch you. They'll try to figure you out. When you don't broadcast every step of your journey, when you don't share every detail of your fight, you leave them guessing. And when they're guessing, they're not controlling your story. You are, that's power. When you let your actions do the talking, when you move through your days with quiet determination, you force the world to respect you on your terms. They can't use your struggles against you because they don't know what's really going on. The world loves to hear a good story, and people will always try to turn your struggles into one of their own. They'll gossip, they'll speculate, and they'll form opinions. But when you keep your business to yourself, when you choose to face the storm with resilience and silence, you take away their ability to manipulate your image. You don't give them the chance to reduce you to just your problems. You elevate yourself by keeping the focus on what matters, your actions, your strength, and your ability to keep moving forward. You see, in this noisy world, silence is one of the most powerful statements you can make. It says, I don't need validation. I don't need you to pity me. I'm handling my business, and I'm going to rise above. When you choose silence over sharing your struggles, you become untouchable. People can't tear you down with their words if you don't give them the ammunition. You become the one who stands firm while others fall apart. And the best part? They can't understand how you do it. But that's the beauty of it. It's in the silence that you find your true strength. It's in the quiet that you craft your comeback. And that, my friend, is how you win. The truth is, nobody cares about your problems as much as you think they do. People might listen, they might offer a word here and there, but in the end, your problems are just that, your problems. The more you talk about them, the more you're feeding into the narrative of helplessness. You're putting your energy into explaining your pain instead of putting that energy into doing something about it. Nobody is coming to save you. The world doesn't stop because you're struggling. And the sooner you realize that, the stronger you'll become. People don't need to hear about your problems because they're not going to fix them. They'll give you advice, some of it good, most of it not. But no one can walk in your shoes. No one can truly understand the weight of what you're carrying unless they've been through the exact same thing. So, while you're busy explaining, they're listening but not truly hearing. They might offer comfort, but what you really need is a plan, action, and a commitment to getting better. Instead of complaining or seeking sympathy, focus on solutions. There's power in action. You can talk about your problems all day, but until you get up and do something about them, nothing will change. The world doesn't care about your excuses, it cares about results. So instead of running your mouth about your struggles, use that energy to find a way out. Ask yourself, what can I do today to move closer to where I want to be? Take small steps, but make sure they're in the right direction. Even if you don't have the answers, don't get caught in the trap of discussing the problem without taking action. There's also another truth to this. People are quick to offer advice or talk about your issues, but many of them won't be there when you're on the other side of that struggle. When you rise, when you overcome, those same people who acted like they cared will have moved on to the next thing. So why waste your energy? Use that time to focus on fixing yourself, on growing, on getting stronger. You don't need to explain your process to anyone. Your comeback will speak for itself. Let your actions tell the story. And watch how people start to respect you when they see how you handle business quietly without needing to talk about it. The moment you start sharing your problems with the world, you risk becoming a victim in their eyes. People want to know your struggles. They want to hear about your pain, but only because it allows them to distance themselves from the uncomfortable truth that they too have their own struggles. It's easy to sit back, listen to someone else's problems, and judge them because it takes the focus off of their own life, their own challenges. But here's the kicker: when you constantly talk about your problems, you give others permission to label you as weak, as someone who can't handle life. You allow them to turn you into a story they can consume rather than a person they should respect. And let's be clear about something: you're not weak, you're human. Everyone has challenges. Everyone struggles. But the difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is how they handle it. You have the choice to either stand tall in your struggle or to get buried under it. When you talk about your pain too much, you risk defining yourself by it. People will remember you for your problems, not your potential. They'll forget about your strength and focus on your weakness. Don't let that happen. You don't need to explain why things are difficult. You don't need to tell people why you're struggling. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to change your situation. Talking about it only reinforces the idea that you're a victim of circumstance, that the world is bigger and stronger than you. But that's not true. You are in control of how you respond. And if you let your problems define you, if you let them consume every conversation, you're giving them power. You're letting your pain become a permanent part of your identity instead of something you move through on your way to something greater. Every time you share your struggles, you're reminding yourself of how hard things are. You're reinforcing the belief that you can't handle it. But when you stop talking about your pain, when you choose to focus on the solution instead of the problem, you take back control. You stop letting your circumstances dictate your mindset. Instead, you become the person who chooses not to be defined by your struggles. You don't have to explain your pain to anyone. You just need to get up every day and fight through it. You need to move forward, no matter how difficult it gets. Because once you do, no one can label you a victim. They'll see you as a survivor, a warrior, someone who faced the odds and kept going. That's the kind of person you are. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. The world doesn't care about your problems, and here's why it doesn't stop for you. Life keeps moving. Time doesn't slow down because you're hurting. People don't have the luxury of halting their own lives just because you're facing a storm. They've got their own battles to fight. So when you spend too much time talking about your struggles, you're not moving forward. You're wasting energy. Complaining doesn't change anything. Venting doesn't fix anything. It just creates a cycle of negativity that only gets heavier the more you carry it. At some point, you've got to make a decision. Are you going to stay stuck in the past, talking about your pain and hoping someone else will fix it for you? Or are you going to take control and start making moves toward a solution? It's easy to get caught up in your feelings, to let the weight of your struggles dominate your thoughts. But the more you talk about your problems, the more you feed them. You reinforce the idea that they're too big to handle, too difficult to overcome. But the truth is, your problems aren't bigger than your strength. They might seem overwhelming in the moment, but every challenge is an opportunity for growth. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. And the way you handle your difficulties, the way you approach them, determines whether you remain stuck or move forward. You have to stop complaining about the situation and start focusing on how to change it. Start thinking about what you can do today, right now, to make things better. You may not have all the answers, and that's okay. But complaining about the situation won't make the answers appear. It won't change the outcome. The world rewards action, not words. If you want to change your life, stop talking about your problems and start solving them. That's how you regain control. You don't have to have everything figured out, but you do have to make a decision to start moving in the right direction. Every time you focus on the solution instead of the problem, you take back your power. You stop being a victim of your circumstances. You start being the person who finds a way, no matter how hard it gets. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging that things aren't easy, but it's another thing to get lost in that struggle. Action is what changes your life. So instead of wasting time explaining why things are tough, put your energy into changing the things you can control. And trust me, as you do, you'll see that the world starts responding differently to you. People will talk, that's just a fact of life. They'll judge you, they'll speculate, they'll share their opinions like they know what's best for you. But here's the thing, most of them don't know anything about what you're going through. They don't see the late nights, the inner struggles, the battles you fight when nobody else is watching. And yet, they'll still have the nerve to offer unsolicited advice, to tell you how you should feel or what you should do. They think they understand, but they don't. And they never will. The reality is, most people are more focused on their own lives than yours. They may act like they care, but in truth, they're not walking the same path you are. They don't feel the weight of your responsibilities, your choices, or your pain. They may be offering advice from a place of good intentions, but more often than not, it's coming from a place of their own comfort. People want to fix things because they want to feel like they've helped. But the truth is, your problems are yours to solve. You don't need anyone else's validation to fix your life. You need your own strength, your own will, your own determination. Every time you talk about your struggles, you open the door for people to insert their opinions into your life. And not all opinions are helpful. Some people will tell you to give up, others will tell you to fight harder, and some will just offer empty words with no real value. What you need is not their judgment or their advice, but the clarity to focus on your own path. You need to stay true to what you know, to what's deep inside you, because only you have the full picture of what's going on in your life. And when you're constantly seeking advice or validation from others, you start losing sight of that clarity. You start questioning yourself and doubting your decisions. The more you talk about your problems, the more you open yourself up to the noise of others. And that noise can cloud your judgment, confuse your thinking, and make you second-guess the very decisions that could lead you to success. Instead of sharing your struggles with everyone who will listen, keep your focus sharp. Trust your instincts, trust your journey, and trust that you are capable of finding your own solutions. People will always have something to say. But at the end of the day, it's your life, your fight, your victory. Keep it that way. When you stop sharing your problems with others, you take away their power to influence you, and you reclaim the control that is rightfully yours. You have to learn that not everyone deserves to know what you're going through. Some people will use your vulnerability against you. They'll take your pain and twist it, use it for gossip, or turn it into a form of entertainment. When you reveal your struggles to the wrong people, you're giving them ammunition to weaken you, to make you feel small. And that's not how strength works. Real strength doesn't need to broadcast itself. It doesn't need the approval or sympathy of others. It's quietly powerful, moving forward with determination without seeking anyone's permission to do so. Here's the truth, not everyone will be there when you rise. Not everyone who listens to your struggles will stick around to watch your comeback. People come and go, they get caught up in their own lives, their own problems, and they forget about you. They won't be there when you need them most. But they'll be the first to show up with opinions when you've made it through. That's the world we live in. People only care when it benefits them or when they see something they want. So instead of sharing your pain and inviting that temporary attention, invest your energy in the people who will be there for you when you've made it through. Not the ones who listen to your problems but forget about them the moment it's convenient. By holding on to your struggles and working through them privately, you're teaching yourself to rely on your inner strength, not on the external validation of others. You're learning that you don't need anyone's approval to get through tough times. You don't need anyone to tell you that you're strong. You know it. The people who matter will see your strength without you needing to explain it. They'll respect you for how you carry yourself, for the resilience you show when life knocks you down. Those are the ones who truly understand the value of silence. The more you share your struggles with people who aren't truly invested in you, the more you risk them diminishing your strength. You open the door for others to see you as weak, as someone who needs help, or someone who can't handle it. And the truth is, you can handle it. You can rise above anything that comes your way. You've got the power within you, but you have to protect that power. You have to stop giving away pieces of your strength to people who don't deserve it. Keep it for yourself. Let the actions you take speak louder than any words you could say. And when people see you standing tall after the storm is past, they'll know exactly what you're made of. There's a lesson in keeping your struggles to yourself. It teaches you to trust yourself more than you trust the opinions of others. The world is full of noise people giving advice, offering opinions and weighing in on what you should or shouldn't do. But here's the reality: their opinions don't carry the weight of your experience. They don't live your life. They don't carry your burden. And while they may speak in a way that seems comforting, their words don't change anything about your situation. So why would you put your trust in someone else's perspective when they don't know the whole story? When you keep your problems to yourself, you take control of your narrative. You stop letting other people's judgments define you, and you start defining yourself by your actions. Because that's what matters: what you do, how you respond to your challenges, how you carry yourself through adversity. You don't need to explain your situation to anyone, because at the end of the day, you know exactly what you're going through. You know the choices you're facing, the sacrifices you're making, and the strength it takes to keep moving forward. No one else can see that. And when you stop sharing, you protect your energy. You don't allow others to drain you by filling your mind with their doubts, fears, or irrelevant opinions. It's in the quiet moments when you're not broadcasting your struggles that you discover your true power. It's when you have no one else to rely on but yourself that you find out just how strong you really are. And in that silence, in that solitude, you can hear your own voice more clearly. You can see your path more clearly. You can focus on what needs to be done instead of getting distracted by outside noise. The world may try to make you think that sharing your pain, explaining your struggles, will bring you the support or attention you need. But that's not true strength. True strength is in your ability to keep going without needing the world to understand. It's in your ability to rise on your own, to keep your head up even when no one is looking. So stop telling people about your problems. Don't give them a front row seat to your pain. When you do that, you're not just protecting your peace, you're taking back control of your own story. You're showing the world that you're not defined by your struggles, you're defined by how you rise above them. And that's what will earn you the respect you deserve. When people see that you can handle your business without needing anyone to validate it, that's when they'll really start to take notice. That's when they'll see your true strength. And that strength, my friend, speaks louder than anything you could ever say.